which is a funny talking point in some ways, given they've scored as many goals as City this season.
Well, the drop-off of Martial is extraordinary, really. I think the big thing about Martial, we've always said he's a fantastic finisher. That's the big point about him. When he broke on the scene, he always took his chances, more or less. He's had a difficult season, though. And I think because he's had a difficult season and he's a marquee player up front for them, that has exposed the lack of players that they have. Perhaps we've said they're missing a central striker. Cavani's come in, but he's only a stopgap, you would say, a very good stopgap at that. They were targeting Sancho last summer. It's clear we think that will be where Manchester United will target again in the summer, linked to Haaland, but who isn't now? So that is an area. As far as Bruno Fernandes, I think you look at his performances recently and he's had some standout moments, but also in games he hasn't been at his best. And a lot of Manchester United fans have watched games and thought his consistency across the 90 minutes hasn't been great. You know, they're missing a lot of players today. Pogba's not available. I don't know where Van der Beek is at this point in time, and that's been a question across the season. So lots of questions for Manchester United. But to pick up on the point raised earlier, I think their biggest issue is that they've just dropped off that title pace that Manchester City have set so quickly in the space of a short space of time.
And that is the point, Stephen. You know, we can't just use Manchester City as a reason for everybody to kind of look at their season and say that's okay. It's got nothing to do with City that United have won one of 5 Premier League games.
No, it's not. And that is Manchester United's problem at the moment, is consistency. And that is the problem with Martial. Now, if you want to take your club to the next level and you want to be contending for the Premier League, then Martial won't give you that. Personally, that's the way I feel. I think you need a striker who's going to perform at the level of a Bruno Fernandes week in, week out, that you know that what you're going to get from him is, I'd say, 7 or 8 out of 10s most week. And that's what you're after. Whereas Martial can give you a 3. He can give you a 4 at times, and you're thinking, well, that's not good enough for Manchester United to go and challenge at the top end of the league, and that's they are at the right end of the league now, but what I mean is really pushing Manchester City. So it's all about consistency for Manchester United to take them to that next level.
Well, they might not have a player of Bruno Fernandes' quality in the centre-forward position. They've certainly got a player of similar profile. We won't see Edinson Cavani at Old Trafford tonight, but his future has been the subject of some discussion, especially with a focus on that number 9 position. Here's what Solskjaer has been saying about him.
I can only say Edinson has done well. I've been impressed by him. He's really gelled in the group, and we'll sit down with him and speak with him, of course, in the near future to see his plans and our plans. It's a good discussion. You always speak to your players, and with his contract situation, at the moment, we're very pleased with what he's done.
At some point very soon, I will be rudely interrupting someone, I believe, so that we can hear from Pep Guardiola. I really hope it's you, Stephen. I've got to be honest.
He's speechless.
I'm just ignoring it. I knew you'd want it to be me.
I'm going to ask you the next question just in case it happens. Is Cavani the right focus or the wrong focus for United? In that we can talk about them needing this number 9 to take them on. He's 34.
Yeah, but
very soon I'll be rudely interrupted.
He's got an incredible attitude around the training ground. I often speak about this when I talk about senior players in a dressing room. They are so important to set the trend of the next generation coming through. Why has Cavani played at the top level for so long? Why is he being an international player? How's he scored so many goals? He gets into the training ground early. Look at the physique of the guy. I mean, when he came across to England and you saw him doing his Instagram post and doing the running, everything behind the scenes, he doesn't just turn up to a training ground and just perform. It's everything behind the scenes, and they're the little breadcrumbs that you leave for everyone else, the youngsters, that pick up on it and go, that's how you become an elite player. And it's very difficult at times for because football clubs are now a huge business, to turn round to the board and say, I want to spend X amount on this player to bring him in on this wage, but he's not going to play every week. And they go, well, why? Well, it's everything else he brings around the training ground and around the club. It brings a winning mentality, and that's worth its weight in gold.
There were question marks, though, weren't there, when he was brought in? People thought, is he past it? Has he been training hard enough? Well, he's proved them wrong.
Yeah, and I think that the side of it with Paris Saint-Germain is that he almost felt he'd been pushed out there. but his attitude and the way he's bounced back, he's got that mentality. Okay, well, I'll prove Paris Saint-Germain wrong, and I'll go to another world-class club and go, well, I fit in here and I'm working here.
They can be hit and miss, can't they, those sort of signings? But I agree with you, Stephen. I think that's one that is, however much they're paying in terms of his wages
in the Premier League,
for the reasons you've said there, that is actually value for money for what you get.
As for Manchester United, they come in making 2 changes since their 1-1 draw against West Brom in the league. Those 2 changes, Cavani and McTominay, making way for Daniel James and Nemanja Matic. Of course, Daniel James impressed against Sociedad midweek. Can he continue that form this evening? As for Steve Bruce's side, he only makes 1 change tonight. That's Dwight Gale dropping out for Joel Linton. Their last game, of course, was a 2-0 loss at Chelsea. Evening kickoff then in the Premier League. It's a 7 p.m. kickoff. It's Manchester United against Newcastle. Well, the lineups are in for the late kickoff in the Premier League this evening as Manchester United host Newcastle at Old Trafford. And as for Manchester United, they come in making 2 changes since their 1-1 draw against West Brom in the league. Those 2 changes, Cavani and McTominay, making way for Daniel James and Nemanja Matic. Of course, Daniel James impressed against Sociedad midweek. Can he continue that form this evening? As for Steve Bruce's side, he only makes 1 change tonight. That's Dwight Gale dropping out for Joel Linton. Their last game, of course, was a 2-0 loss at Chelsea. Evening kickoff then in the Premier League. It's a 7 p.m. kickoff. It's Manchester United against Newcastle. Well, the lineups are in for the late kickoff in the Premier League this evening as Manchester United host Newcastle at Old Trafford. And as for Manchester United, they come in making 2 changes since their 1-1 draw against West Brom in the league. Those 2 changes, Cavani and McTominay, making way for Daniel James and Nemanja Matic. Of course, Daniel James impressed against Sociedad midweek. Can he continue that form this evening? As for Steve Bruce's side, he only makes 1 change tonight. That's Dwight Gale dropping out for Joel Linton. Their last game, of course, was a 2-0 loss at Chelsea. Evening kickoff then in the Premier League. It's a 7 p.m. kickoff. It's Manchester United against Newcastle. Well, the lineups are in for the late kickoff in the Premier League this evening as Manchester United host Newcastle at Old Trafford. And as for Manchester United, they come in making 2 changes since their 1-1 draw against West Brom in the league. Those 2 changes, Cavani and McTominay, making way for Daniel James and Nemanja Matic. Of course, Daniel James impressed against Sociedad midweek. Can he continue that form this evening? As for Steve Bruce's side, he only makes 1 change tonight.
You're putting yourself again in the South American market. And you're making the club global even more so. You're pushing it into that nation. You're going into Uruguay selling shirts. Suddenly everyone wants a Cavani shirt but a Manchester United shirt. So sometimes it does stack up in that way to be able to do that.
And they've got a young Uruguayan in their ranks as well, Palestri, so I'm sure he looks up to Cavani, that's for sure.
They've also got a young Ivorian, Stephen, who I think we're all excited to see in Diallo.
Yeah, bag of tricks, isn't he? One of those players that I wouldn't want to face in my career because unpredictable, pacey, can beat you with the drop of the shoulder, but can beat you with an incredible piece of skill as well. Got an eye for a goal, can be calm when he gets in attacking situations to make sure that his assists they're not just fizzed into areas. He's trying to pick players out. He's got that maturity beyond his years to actually pick his head up and sense what's needed for the striker to have an easier opportunity.
And we understand he wants to be known as Ahmad, and we're looking at the team sheet here and they've written it in capitals, Ahmad, no Diallo on the end, just so we're sure.
Crossy, can you ask Warney a question quickly, please?
I can hear you, Kaz.
Yeah, go for it.
She's whispering.
No, just ask any random question like in the next 5 seconds.
Stephen,
he's gone
we'll call him
way.
Ahmad, shall we? We'll call him Ahmad, that's his name, yeah? Oh, he's not.
I think we've got an interview to get to the touchline. Pep Guardiola, is that with George Cummings?
No, I don't think he is actually.
He is.
He's
here
George.
He's here now.
For Daniel James
Thanks,
and
Steve. Yeah,
Nemanja Matic of course. Daniel James impressed against Sociedad midweek. Can he continue that form this evening? As for Steve Bruce's side, he only makes 1 change tonight. That's Dwight Gale dropping out for Joel Linton. Their last game, of course, was a 2-0 loss at Chelsea. Evening kickoff then in the Premier League. It's a 7 p.m. kickoff. It's Manchester United against Newcastle. Well, the lineups are in for the late kick-off in the Premier League this evening as Manchester United host Newcastle at Old Trafford. And as for Manchester United, they come in making 2 changes since their 1-1 draw against West Brom in the league. Those 2 changes, Cavani and McTominay, making way for Daniel James and Nemanja Matic. Of course, Daniel James impressed against Sociedad midweek. Can he continue that form this evening? As for Steve Bruce's side, he only makes 1 change tonight. That's Dwight Gale dropping out for Joel Linton. Their last game, of course, was a 2-0 loss at Chelsea. Evening kick-off then in the Premier League. It's a 7 p.m. kick-off. It's Manchester United against Newcastle. Well, the lineups are in for the late kick-off in the Premier League this evening as Manchester United host Newcastle at Old Trafford. And as for Manchester United, they come in making 2 changes since their 1-1 draw against West Brom in the league. Those 2 changes, Cavani and McTominay, making way for Daniel James and Nemanja Matic. Of course, Daniel James impressed against Sociedad midweek. Can he continue that form this evening? As for Steve Bruce's side, he only makes 1 change tonight. That's Dwight Gale dropping out for Joel Linton. Their last game, of course, was a 2-0 loss at Chelsea. Evening kick-off then in the Premier League. It's a 7 p.m. kick-off. It's Manchester.
They can catch you. Well, let's.
We'll call him Ahmad, shall we? We'll call him Ahmad. That's his name, yeah? Oh, he's not
I think
playing
we've got
the
an
game,
interview to get to the touchdown. Pep Guardiola. Is that with George Cummings?
No, I don't think he is, actually.
He is.
He's
here
George.
now. He's here now. Thanks, Steve.
Can he continue that form this evening? As for Steve Bruce's side, he only makes 1 change tonight. That's Dwight Gale dropping out for Joel Linton. Their last game, of course, was a 2-0 loss at Chelsea. Evening kick-off then in the Premier League. It's a 7 p.m. kick-off. It's Manchester United against Newcastle. Well, the lineups are in for the late kick-off in the Premier League this evening as Manchester United host Newcastle at Old Trafford. And as for Manchester United, they come in making 2 changes since their 1-1 draw against West Brom in the league. Those 2 changes, Cavani and McTominay, making way for Daniel James and Nemanja Matic. Of course, Daniel James impressed against Sociedad midweek. Can he continue that form this evening? As for Steve Bruce's side, he only makes 1 change tonight. That's Dwight Gale dropping out for Joel Linton. Their last game, of course, was a 2-0 loss at Chelsea. Evening kick-off then in the Premier League. It's a 7 p.m. kick-off. It's Manchester United against Newcastle. Well, the lineups are in for the late kick-off in the Premier League this evening as Manchester United host Newcastle at Old Trafford. And as for Manchester United, they come in making 2 changes since their 1-1 draw against West Brom in the league. Those 2 changes, Cavani and McTominay, making way for Daniel James and Nemanja Matic. Of course, Daniel James impressed against Sociedad midweek. Can he continue that form this evening?
And as say Maximan, they can play off him and give them an outlet up the pitch.
And there's an expectation as well, Stephen, because particularly for Newcastle fans, this is an iconic fixture.
Yeah, it's been a fixture that's always whetted the appetite, hasn't it? It's one of those games that's always brought goals. Hopefully that we get plenty of them tonight. We get exciting football from both teams, and it's a spectacle. But for the Newcastle fans, they know that they're desperate to get a result tonight because they'll feel that can just pull them away ever so slightly from the chasing pack.
Knew I should have known better than to try and get the better of you, shouldn't I?
Well, I wanted to finish the link out and say thanks to George and Pep Guardiola, but you beat me to it.
Too busy celebrating your win.
Yeah, exactly. You'll have my job at some point. He can stick to his own for now, Sam.
Will he?
Probably. Enjoy.
Top man. Cheers, Steve.
Yes, thanks very much, Steve. The 2 sets of players out on the fields. Newcastle United going through some last-minute jogging just before they get underway here at Old Trafford. I'll quickly run you through the 2 sides. Manchester United, who are wearing red, their famous red and red tops and white shorts, while they have De Gea back in goal. A back 4, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Maguire and Shaw. A midfield of Matic, Fred, Daniel James on the right wing, Anthony Martial on the left, all through the middle. Marcus Rashford up front, Bruno Fernandes just behind Rashford or Martial. As for Newcastle United, Darlow remains in goal. There was talk maybe Dubravka might come in, but no, Darlow retains his place in between the sticks for Newcastle United. Kraft, Lascelles, Clark and Lewis the back 4. Shelvey, Hayden, Willock in midfield. Almiron and Saint-Maximin hoping to get up in support of Joel Linton. It feels a bigger game for Newcastle in many ways after what Fulham did last night, Stephen.
That's exactly it. As soon as you see that result come in from Fulham, a huge victory for them. The Newcastle players would have been thinking, we've got to respond to that. We've got to put in a positive performance. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be a victory. A draw is still a good result for them, because what it does breed then is it breeds confidence to know that you can go to Old Trafford and get a result out of the game. But they have to take heart that Sheffield United came here and got a result as well.
Well, Manchester United will be the ones to kick us off.
Can he continue that form this evening? As for Steve Bruce's side, he only makes one change tonight. That's Dwight Gale dropping out for Joel Linton. Their last game, of course, was a 2-0 loss at Chelsea. Evening kickoff then in the Premier League. It's a 7 p.m. kickoff. It's Manchester United against Newcastle. Well, it's a warm welcome along to this independent off-tube studio commentary of that game, Manchester United against Newcastle United at Old Trafford. And it's the Red Devils who have kicked off this game, gone down the right-hand side, but given away an early throw-in. But just as I say that, they've won it straight back from that throw-in as Maguire drives forward with the ball. It's a quick tackle in from Almiron, then Maguire once again battles, this time against Joel Linton, steps forward with the ball. Almiron gets to his feet eventually. Now Kraft and Rashford into a battle on the left-hand side of the Manchester United attack. Fernandes comes across, plays it back to Maguire now. And eventually the ball is calmed down, and it goes backwards now to Victor Lindelof. But Newcastle trying to play a high press here. Almiron looks as though he's the man in the number 9 position for the moment, with Joel Linton on the right flank at the minute. But Luke Shaw plays it down that left-hand side into the feet of Anthony Martial. Receives it back off Fernandes, does Luke Shaw now. Martial still has Rashford out wide of him. Shaw plays it to him, goes on the overlap, but it's a ball between Rashford and Martial. Rashford gets past his man. Now Lascelles comes across as Rashford just about overruns the ball there. He was looking to ball roll it with his left foot inside and keep it in play, but he couldn't just do that. I think he was trying to hold off Lascelles at the same time as doing it, but Lascelles stood off him, and eventually the England man ran out of room on the left wing, and it will be a goal kick for Newcastle and Carl Darlow in the sticks tonight. But it's been a fast-paced start to this game. The opening 2 minutes have absolutely flown by as the goal kick goes long. Maguire heads down, but it's picked up by Willock on the right-hand side, of course on loan from Arsenal till the end of the season. Almiron now goes down the line. He's brought Lindelof out of position as he plays it inside to Joel Linton. Turns, has a bit of space in the box, cuts inside, has a shot, does he, goes down. No claims for a penalty there. May have been a good tackle covering across from the Nemanja Matic there. Manchester United just caught in their own left-hand corner here, just by the corner flag, as Luke Shaw plays it inside to Lindelof again, swipes it away with a bit of terror on his face, and it goes out for a Newcastle throw-in on the near side. We'll just see a replay of this one. Joel Linton cutting inside. I think he loses his own foot in there. I think he's gone to shoot with the outside of his right boot, but as he's gone to do so, he's gone to ground. Maybe if he'd been a bit more confident on his left, it would have been a good opportunity for the Newcastle number 9. Kraft has it here with a throw-in, goes long into the box up towards Joel Linton. Maguire heads it down. I think that one came off the back of one of his own teammates, has gone out for a corner on the right hand side for Newcastle. It will be just that corner for the Magpies. It's Almiron who's come across to take. I think it came off the back of Nemanja Matic. In the end, he's one of the changes in today for Scott McTominay. And Cavani, of course, out for Daniel James, who played midweek against Sociedad on Thursday, and that 4-0 thrashing, picked himself up a goal and an assist. But here is Almiron for Newcastle. Short corner into the feet of Willock, back to Shelvey. Will whip this one in first time. As he does so, he slips, the ball balloons into the air. Now De Gea underneath it, not sure there. He punches the ball out to the edge of the box. Joel Linton now has a striker goal. It's a great save from De Gea. It's a good effort from Joel Linton. He wasn't confident at all with that ball coming down on top of him, and it's a fantastic effort in the end from Joel Linton. It looks as though the chance had gone for the big striker, but he just managed to swivel on the edge of the box. He took a touch, it wasn't his finest. He's fired at a goal. I think it's come off the back of Victor Lindelof there, cannon towards goal, wrong-footed De Gea, but he was sprightly enough on those toes, was able to palm the ball over the goal. But it's a good start for Newcastle. It's the sort of momentum that they would have wanted in the early moments of this game. Shelvey this time will whip the corner in towards the penalty spot. It's come out to the edge now. Willock scampering backwards. Dan James is sprinted against him. He's so quick, Dan James. He does brilliantly to pressure Willock, but he just about gets it back now to Kraft. Now with Almiron on the right hand side. Shelvey looking down the line once again. Almiron's not made that run. They're not on the same wavelength, and that one will just dribble out for a Manchester United throw. But Steve Bruce will be mightily happy with how his team have started this game. On the front foot, trying to score against Manchester United in the opening few minutes. You have to say, even in the last 4 games, they've won 2 games. There's a mix-up here between Fred and Maguire as De Gea is forced to rush out from the back again and slide and clear the ball away. Manchester United just don't look like themselves here. They look completely out of sorts. Of course, they've dropped into 3rd for the moment as Leicester won in the early game today against Aston Villa. But a win would put them back into 2nd place in the division. But Maguire and Fred there, just complete miscommunication. They look completely out of sorts at the moment as he just absolutely blasts it off the shins of the Brazilian there, does Maguire. Plays it into Matic as risky passes that one as he had Willock right on his back, but he did well enough there, the Serbian, to play the ball to Lindelof. Now Wan-Bissaka on the right hand side. He loses out as Hayden flicks it to Shelvey in the midfield. Manchester United need to get some sort of spell of possession and comfort in this game, but Newcastle are making it difficult for them as Joe Linton backs into Maguire. That is a foul. There's been a lot of headlines a little late across this season of Harry Kane backing into defenders as he's not looked for the ball, he's looked for the defender, and that's exactly what Joe Linton's done. Backed into Harry Maguire just as Maguire jumps, which sends Maguire horizontal should I say, and careering back to the Old Trafford turf. No doubt that one's a foul. As Wan-Bissaka plays it down the right hand side. Dan James tries to drive inside. It's good work from him. Shelvey fouls him. He plays it quick, does Dan James. Good thinking from the Welshman. Thumbs up from Fernandes, but Fernandes couldn't find an option to play it onto. Good ball from Matic once again. This time into Martial. Short. To the left hand side is Rashford. Stepping across is Willock. He flicks it inside. Good 1-2 between Shaw and Martial once again. It's with the Frenchman at his feet. Rashford tries to return it back to him as Willock steps in and the ball goes out for a throw-in. But if there were any tales before the game that this one would be one-sided, it's certainly not showing that so far. Both teams having a right go at each other. End-to-end football at the moment as Shaw 1-2 with Rashford, but Willock does really well to win that one, but plays it down the line. Lindelof flicks it on. Almiron, he's tackled by Maguire. That'll be an advantage. Potential yellow card coming there for the England man as Almiron down the right hand side looking for options, flicks it inside. Maguire recovering up against Joe Linton, is able to turn the ball away. I think he might get away with that one, Harry Maguire, actually, given that it's only 7.5 minutes into the game. Just eyes on Paul Tierney here. He didn't take Almiron down, but he certainly tapped his ankle as he was running on the counter attack. I just see another replay of that one. It's a bit harsh to give him a yellow card if it is to be that early on in the game. I don't think he has picked up a caution. Paul Tierney allowing a bit of leniency early on in this game. Matic now steps forward into Fernandes, who drops deep, turns quickly. Willock steps towards him. He tries to whip it forward, does Fernandes, but it goes straight towards Jonjo Shelvey. Then Joe Linton with a good tackle wins the ball off Luke Shaw. Kraft on the right hand side goes long down the line. Good touch from Almiron, but Maguire presses up against him. Fred wins a header in midfield. Fernandes flicks it on. Free kick going to come here, is it? It is. It's going to be a free kick for Newcastle and Miguel Almiron. I didn't see this one myself. Camera pictures just turned away as Almiron went down there. It's as he's flicked the ball on inside. There's nothing too much in that for me. Maguire's just got tight to him. He's not really put in a tackle. Maguire, there's a slight clash of knees, but that's because Almiron's flicked his leg forward, and I think he's actually holding his hamstring, almost like a dead leg for a moment there. Almiron. Steve Brewster's having a word with Jonjo Shelvey on the sidelines as Shelvey puts his arms out to his side, wondering what his gaffer is wanting him to do. Wan-Bissaka goes back to Lindelof. St. Maximan on the charge. First time I've said his name this evening. He charges against Wan-Bissaka now, just manages to get the ball away inside in towards Fred. Lindelof turning now. The Swede just about enough to beat Almiron, but it's a poor ball out from De Gea now into Joe Linton. Back inside in towards Shelvey. Fires at goal. He skies that one. It's a great chance for Newcastle once again. It's really poor from the Manchester United goalkeeper once again, but this time And just like last time, he's been let off. He's hit it first time, looking to the left-hand side, looking to whip it over the head of Joe Linton. I think Luke Shaw's out on the left flank there. But he's completely scuffed it and just hacked it straight into the feet of Joe Linton. Looked as though he could have had a shot himself, but chose to pass it inside to the edge. And there was Shelvey, but his shot wasn't the finest. 3 shots already for the visitors, just the one on target of those 3. Manchester United yet to have a shot in anger at Carl Darlow's goal. As Rashford now on the left flank steps inside of Emil Kraft. He tries to whip that one in. It's taken by Shelvey though on the edge. Plays it out to the left hand side, and Jamal Lewis will try to launch a counter-attack here. Daniel James comes across. St. Maximin tries to control the pass but isn't able to do so. And Matic picks it up in midfield. Now with Rashford. Steps forward into the feet of Fernandes. Flicks that one on. He's fouled as soon as he's passed the ball on there. It's an unnecessary foul from Isaac Hayden. Was it Jonjo Shelvey actually? I'm not 100% sure. It was Hayden. It's unnecessary from him. He's tried to block the pass, but he's miles away from Fernandes. The Portuguese has flicked it round the corner towards Martial. He was never going to get there, Isaac Hayden. The ball had already gone on, and it wasn't as if Anthony Martial was getting onto the ball either. So it's good opportunity for Manchester United, one that's gifted by Isaac Hayden and Newcastle. And no surprise as Bruno Fernandes is going to be the man over this free kick. It looks a long way out to shoot. There's only St. Maximin and Almiron in the wall, so it's not the tallest. The setups for a long ball that's flicked in towards the far post. This is just what they do. Carl Darlow's there, grabs that one with 2 grateful hands before Nemanja Matic can get there, and the counter-attack just not quite on for Darlow there. Just holds on to the ball for the moment. Opening moments of the game at Old Trafford then, and it's the away side who have been on top, and it's been chances that they've created through mistakes of Manchester United's goalkeeper David De Gea. They've had a couple. They've had a volley from Joe Linton that went skied over David De Gea's goal, but the second one was a really poor ball out from De Gea, fell straight to Joe Linton, who squared it across the edge of the box into Jonjo Shelvey, but his right-footed effort as he was stepping onto it was whipped right over the bar, just like his fellow Newcastle man. It's a poor start from Manchester United's defence in terms of giving things away. They need to improve on the opening minutes if they're going to win this one. It's still Manchester United 0, Newcastle 0. United now with it on the right side. Manchester United, that is, as Fernandes whips it towards the edge of the box. It's not the greatest from him. It didn't look as if it was aimed towards anyone really, as Lascelles steps out and clears. Fred covering back, heads it to Lindelof before St. Maximin can get close to him. Back to Maguire now, under pressure once again from Almiron, scampering forward. Fred goes long with the ball, but it's really poor from him as well. It's completely aimless from Fred in midfield. He's not able to find anyone up there. In fact, he's just smacked it over the whole of the Newcastle defence straight to Carl Darlow. It's an equally poor ball though from Lascelles forward towards Joe Linton, as Matic now has it in midfield, stepping forwards into the Newcastle half, gives it to the left hand side now. Shaw, Rashford back into Matic. It's slow and steady work at the moment for Manchester United. They're not able to find that space in between the defence and midfield at the moment of that Newcastle defensive line. De Gea goes long up towards Fernandes, headed out from the back there by Kieran Clark. Lewis picks it up on the left hand side, goes inside to Shelvey, pressed by the Brazilian Fred. Now it will come back to Carl Darlow, and a breather here for Newcastle United, but still it's they that are the team on top at the moment still. Goes long up towards Joe Willock, headed out by Maguire. Lascelles heads forward as well to Joe Linton again. Shaw holds him off as Maguire volleys it left-footed forward, headed out by Lascelles again. Matic picks it up in midfield, gives it to Fred. Joe Willock pressing high. Now Almiron joining him, just gets the pass off, does Matic before Almiron gets there, as Rashford tries to break down the right-hand side. It's a good tackle from Kraft, and then Luke Shaw pile drives in there. Kraft has got to the ball first, he's played it down the line, he's gone down holding his right shin there. Luke Shaw protesting to the referee. I'm not 100% certain exactly what happened there. It looked to me as if Kraft was just there slightly before, but they're both gone for the ball. There's not too much in that on reflection. Ooh. They've both gone to swipe for the ball with their outside foot that's nearest to the touchline, and Kraft has won it first and knocked it into the shins of Shaw, but Shaw's left foot has come through as well, and he has booted the right shin of Emil Kraft there. So it is a free kick, but nothing more than that. On this right hand side, it's that half a second, that split second that Manchester United have been off it so far. Newcastle have been winning the second balls. They look like they've got more desire to win their scrappy things around the midfield areas, and that's what's telling so far. But the scoreline is still level as Lascelles goes long towards St. Maximin, just holds off Wan-Bissaka for the moment, calls for handball from Fred. It looks as though it was that way for me on the Frenchman St. Maximin, but not to be, as quick triangles on that far side of the pitch from Newcastle. Eventually Wan-Bissaka puts a foot in, it comes back to Hayden. Now St. Maximin trying to hold off Wan-Bissaka, plays it inside to Hayden. Good ball in behind now towards Almiron, looking for men in the box, whips it in towards the 6-yard box. De Gea's just about there, grabs that one with two hands. Joe Linton coming in at the far post, but a good move once again from Newcastle as Matic this time spreads the play to the right wing. It's Fernandes looking for the run of Dan James, who eventually gets forward. It's a switch from Fernandes to the left hand side. Rashford can't get there as Emil Kraft as well to cover across and head away as Shelvey boots it long himself up towards Joe Linton, putting Maguire under pressure here as Maguire does go back this time to David De Gea. It's a frantic game at Old Trafford. Both teams looking to get in behind with those long balls, as it's a poor ball this time from Matic, gives it away in towards Joe Linton again, intercepts it. Shelvey in midfield holds off Fernandes, back to Joe Linton, steps past Fernandes, who didn't read which way Joe Linton was going there. Jamal Lewis now on the halfway line, across there you go now to Kraft on the right. Rashford presses quickly into the feet of Almiron. Good lead from him in towards Joe Linton, flicked around the corner back to Almiron, looking inside, finds Shelvey. Good dummy from him, is it? No, it's poor. It's aimless really from Shelvey. He didn't quite know what was behind him and just left it, and it found the way of Daniel James's feet as he now plays it to Fernandes, stepping forward into the Newcastle half. Fred into Matic, Fernandes, then Fred again. It's quick triangles between those three. In towards the feet of Martial, doesn't hold that one up. It's a good tackle from Kieran Clark as St. Maximin gets on his back down the left flank as Lewis steps forward, but he just goes calm and decides that Newcastle possession at the minute is the way to go. Lascelles, long ball in between Joe Linton and Almiron on that one as Rashford takes down the header from Shaw, but Joe Linton steps in and wins the ball again. He's been more of a defender in this game. How many times he's won it so far? Joe Linton, Luke Shaw just keeps the ball in on the near side, much to the disappointment of Miguel Almiron. Maguire fires forward down the left, that's poor from him into the chest of Emil Kraft as Shelvey now looks to spray the ball to the left hand side. He just knocks that one straight to Wan-Bissaka. His header out is poor though, and that finds Almiron. Down the left it is Jamal Lewis now into the feet of Willock. Lewis continues his run. Willock looking for the 1-2 with Almiron, gives it to his teammate Maximin on the left hand side, cuts inside, whips it in towards the box early. That's just in front of Jonjo Shelvey and bounces straight into the hands of David De Gea. It was a nice idea though from Alain St. Maximin. Shelvey, a good late run into the box there. He was certainly onside from that cross, but it was a little too far in front of him. Now Dan James on the right hand side up against Jamal Lewis, fires it across the 6-yard box. It's almost spilled by Carl Darlow. He regathers the ball at a second attempt there before Anthony Martial tried to step in there with a poacher's goal, but it wasn't to be for the Frenchman. But good positive work from Daniel James, just thinking, I'm going to fire that one in there. Daniel James looks towards his teammates going, Anthony's got to be in there, he's got to be at that front post, he's a striker, he needs to attack it. That's exactly what he told his striker by making that ball in towards the front post. Wan-Bissaka now on the right hand side for Manchester United. Inside to Fred, into the feet of Martial, who's dropped very, very deep here on the centre circle. Back to Matic. Matic looking forward, turns quickly in midfield before Willock steps in and wins that one back off him. Fred to Wan-Bissaka on the right. Down the line into Dan James, back to Wan-Bissaka once again. First real spell of possession at the moment for Manchester United, looking to just calm things down and work their way into this one. They've almost been shocked by the way that Newcastle have started this one. how bright they've been. But as I did mention before I cut myself off, Newcastle have been in better form in the league than Manchester United, with 2 wins in their last 4, as Fernandes now has a strike at goal. It's blocked away by Kieran Clark. Those 2 wins coming, of course, against Everton and Southampton, whereas Manchester United have only won 1 in their last 5 in the league, and that was a 9-0 win, of course, against Southampton. But now Rashford stepping forward into the Newcastle box, just tackled by Hayden. Rashford can't quite gather that one back, but the ball does cannon back to Nemanja Matic. Fernandes now into Maguire. Fred. Matic once again looking forward into the feet of Rashford. Has time to turn, maybe shoot. No, he plays it onto Fred. Fred step into the left-hand channel, goes out wide to Luke Shaw. Matic just behind him. He does find the Serbian. He's under pressure from Joe Linton now as he has to step forward, looking to run down that left channel himself, as Willett puts a foot in, but it's not quite strong enough to win it back. Matic chips it back now to Luke Shaw. Keeps that one in play. Good possession here for Man United, looking for that opening on the edge of the box. It's into Martial's feet, turns one way, then the other. Feigns to play the ball to Fernandes and tries to play it to Rashford. It's really poor. They go straight out of play for a throw-in. Good tight pressing work from Newcastle at the back there. They weren't necessarily able to win the ball back, but they prevented any kind of Manchester United move through into their box. Kraft will have the throw in here. Launches it long down the right hand side towards Joe Linton. Tries to knee that one down. Does he keep it in play? He doesn't. It's a throw in to Manchester United. Luke Shaw getting tight enough to put him under pressure. Maguire takes the early throw in. And now has the ball back well inside his own half. It's a good ball to the left flank though, as Rashford's in space, but he has to come backwards in towards Matic. Now with Fred, Shelby pushing up against him. Now Almiron pressing Maguire as he receives it. On the left hand side is Shaw. Willock steps across, but Matic has found space as Shelby lags behind. It's a good switch now from Matic over to Dan James as Wan-Bissaka runs forward, as does Martial, as does Dan James, still on the ball. It just inside the box now, has a shot at goal. It's blocked by Clark. Now comes out actually to Alain Saint-Maximin, looking for a turn, flicks it past one man as Wan-Bissaka's just able to run back and cover there before Jamal Lewis got there. Good touch from Alain Saint-Maximin, but I don't think that Jamal Lewis had enough gas in the tank to get there before Wan-Bissaka. Martial now goes down really softly. Paul Tierney waves that one away as Almiron runs up against Lindelof here, knocks it round him. He's being pulled back by the Swede here. Almiron has to step in his checking his tracks. Turns back one way, then goes the other, and a combination of Fred and Lindelof are just able to pressure Almiron enough to force him to lose the ball. He was getting pulled Almiron initially, but now a chance for Luke Shaw to drive forward. He's done well here. Shelby comes across, puts a tackle in, wins the ball back, but Rashford steps across now with Fernandes. 5 yards outside the box, 1-2 with Rashford once again, chips it back in towards the box. He's running through here, but Carl Darlow does really well. Good pace from Darlow off his line to win the ball back there. Just seeing a replay here of Almiron's pace. It was that initial acceleration. He was quicker than Lindelof the whole way, but he was just being tugged back slightly on the shoulder, and as he turned, he didn't quite see where Fred was. He just put enough pressure on him to help his teammate Matic to win that one back, as here's Joe Linton on the ground now, looking in a bit of discomfort here. I think it's potentially, is it a right groin issue or a lower abdominal issue? I'm not 100% sure on the right hand side. But it's a chance for a breather for all the players, and Joe Linton here. And the Newcastle men coming towards the near side for instructions from Steve Bruce, but also for a sip of water as well. Just over a quarter of the game gone at Old Trafford. It's still Newcastle who have had the better chances in this game. Manchester United have come forward a bit more in the last 10 minutes or so, but not quite able to create that chance to get the opening goal of the game. Newcastle have been the better team so far, but the Manchester United mistakes will surely come to an end at some point. They need to create something of their own. It's still Manchester United 0, Newcastle United 0. Bruce just having a sip of water himself. He's just as involved in the running and stress as everyone else, it seems, so far in this game. Ball at the feet now of Carl Darlow. Goes long down the right-hand side up towards Joe Linton, who looks as though he's going to be okay to continue for now. On the right-hand side it goes. Willett tries to fire it down the line towards Almiron, but Joe Linton got in the way there, and it's come off the shins of Newcastle number 9 and careering out for a Manchester United throw-in. That early sustained pressure, that high press from Newcastle has just dropped slightly. It's allowing Manchester United a bit more space in midfield to play those quick 1-2s and triangles, but they've won the ball back here in Newcastle. Good ball from Hayden to the left-hand side, finds St. Maximin. He's up against Fred here as Wan-Bissaka's drilled forward on the last attack. It's Jamal Lewis coming down the left-hand side, but Lindelof just about steps across. It was back heel from Alassane Maximin, trying to find the overlapping young English fullback. Back heel went too close to Victor Lindelof. Just see shots on our pitches on the sidelines. Combination of 3 Manchester United substitutes with not a lot of age on their side. Of course, Mason Greenwood, one of them, as well as Amad Diallo, but also Shola Shortire. 3 young men for Manchester United, all on that bench, continuing that run for Manchester United for having academy players in their matchday squad. Of course, they've also got Marcus Rashford on the field as well. It looks as though it's been a foul throw on the near side. It was Luke Shaw who picked the ball up, went down the right-hand side. It's a foul throw waved by the official on the near side. So it will be Emil Kraft to launch it down the line. Joe Linton flicks that one on, chested down by Willock. He's pressed by a couple of Manchester United men. Maguire gets a foot in. It comes back towards Joe Linton, though. Goes inside towards Almiron. Looking forward, has a strike at goal. He fires it towards the bottom right-hand corner. It's a comfortable save in the end for David De Gea. Once again, though, it's Newcastle that are the team that are getting shooting opportunities, although it was a long way out from Almiron. It was comfortable for David De Gea, but those half chances are only really coming the way of Newcastle United at the moment. Fred into Maguire, steps past Almiron, who looks a little gassed at the moment. He's run so much in the early stages of this game as Fernandes plays it to the right hand side. That one somehow comes through towards Dan James. Lewis puts in a good tackle there. I think the initial pass was meant for Anthony Martial, but it dribbled past him and the Newcastle defenders. Wan-Bissaka back to Fernandes in the inside right channel now. Fred looking forward, chips it to the left hand side, finds Luke Shaw. Good touch from him up against Kraft. Inside he goes to Matic, whips it in towards the box. It's a header fight by Clark, comes out to Daniel James on the right hand side once again. 1-2 with Wan-Bissaka, back to the Welshman. Fernandes back to Wan-Bissaka, driving inside of St. Maximin. A couple of step overs from Wan-Bissaka, and it's a left footed shot at goal. He rather drags that one, not too much power in it, and Carl Darlow is easily able to scramble across and grab that one. I think he was even preventing it from going out for a goal kick there. He wanted it in his own hands rather than on the 6-yard line. Played long by Newcastle now, up to Joe Linton once again, but this time it runs through to Harry Maguire. Willett coming back as the ball comes into the feet of Luke Shaw as he drives forward. Good scampering work from Joe Willock as well, though. Good pressing from him. Matic now with Fred. Looking forward, but could only find Matic sideways. Maguire now to the left-hand side, finds Rashford. Shaw's down the line, but comes back in towards his skipper. Matic into the centre circle is Lindelof. Steps into the Newcastle half, looking for options. Finds Martial, 1-2 between them two. It's now Dan James into Martial once again. Dan James continues his run. Wan-Bissaka back to Lindelof once again. They're just probing at the moment, Manchester United. Just getting into those midfield areas, waiting for a Newcastle positional mistake to make it pay. To find a little extra room to create some sort of trickery, and there's that bit of trickery. It's Rashford down the left hand side, flicks it through the legs of Kraft, drives into the box as Kraft recovers. Rashford has a shot, a goal. It's into the near post. It's the opening goal of the game. It's gone against the play, but it's a moment of magic from Marcus Rashford. He flicked it initially through the legs of Kraft. Kraft got back, but then cut inside and has fired it into the near post for his 9th goal of the season. Carl Darlow's not happy with himself. Jamal Lascelles is not happy with his defensive line. But the opening goal of the game has come Manchester United's way. Opening goal of the game at Old Trafford, and it's come completely against the run of play, but it's a moment of magic from Marcus Rashford. It was a good move down the left-hand side into his feet. He flicked it through the legs of Emil Kraft, and then as Kraft recovered, he cut inside, just inside the box, and he fired it with great power into the near post, and Carl Darlow's right hand wasn't strong enough to keep it out. It bounces into the back of the net. Opening goal of the game. It's Marcus Rashford's for his 9th of the season. It's Manchester United 1, Newcastle United 0. That's all it takes for a man like Marcus Rashford. He's got so much pace and trickery. It's a fabulous goal from him. He's clapped from his manager, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But if you don't make Manchester United pay when you're the team on top, they will go down the other end and score themselves. Questions maybe of Carl Darlow that he's not covered his front post there, but he would have surely expected that ball to go to the far post. But instead it's been drilled into that near one. Caught him by surprise, Carl Darlow. He's not kept it out. It's a good finish from Marcus Rashford, you have to say. But it's just what Steve Bruce and his side wouldn't have wanted. It means now that, of course, Newcastle have to push even more for a goal. That just leaves more space for the Manchester United forwards. Newcastle and Darlow look to regroup as it's gone long down the right hand side. Maguire beats Almiron in the air. It comes to Rashford once again. Tries to flick it back into midfield, but Joe Linton gets the knockdown. It comes in towards Almiron, touches it out of the sky. Fred gets too close and tackles him. No doubt that one's a foul. They won't stop driving forward though, Newcastle. We've seen some performances this season from this Newcastle side that have lacked any sort of creativity and attacking intent, and that's brought out their fans and frustration and in criticism of their manager Steve Bruce. But certain matches as of late, they certainly have been attacking. They've thrown men forward and they've been fantastic today, you have to say, in winning those high balls, but they've just not made it pay with a goal of their own and being caught in defence as Kieran Clark went down as he headed the ball across Manchester United box from that free kick, but in the end it just came straight towards David De Gea. Manchester United will just settle into this game now. They hadn't settled at all in this game until that 5-minute spell or so before that goal, when they started passing the ball around with some confidence. But that goal will certainly settle them down in this game. Maguire stepping forward into the feet of Fernandes now. Left hand side, quick 1-2 attempt between Shaw and Rashford, but it's deflected away back towards Rashford. Fernandes with an early cross, it's headed out by Kieran Clark. Now with Shelby, nods it over the head of Nemanja Matic. That's nice from Shelby. His long ball goes towards Saint-Maximin on the left hand side. Battle between him and Wan-Bissaka as now Almiron gets involved and wins that one back off Wan-Bissaka. Looking forward, tries the back heel. Wan-Bissaka's foot's there. That one goes out for a throw-in. Just looking for someone to make a run inside the Manchester United box for an early cross, but it wasn't to be on that occasion. Had to try and go backwards. Newcastle will come again with possession on the halfway line. Lascelles into the feet of Kraft, now goes down the right flank to Joe Linton, pressed by two Manchester United men, turns it around the corner, nice work from Joe Linton, into Kraft now, in space, in behind on the right hand side, chance to cross, does just that one comes straight into the feet of Fred though. He's got to try and pick someone out there, Kraft, but no one presented themselves inside the Manchester United box. But it's lovely work from Joe Linton on that left hand side, and Luke Shaw and Nemanja Matic just went to sleep at the back there, and Kraft tried to fire it into the feet of Joe Willock, who needed to be pushing in towards that front post area. was just a few moments too late there, Joe Willock. Kraft found himself in loads of space. It'll do Newcastle's confidence good as well. They're certainly finding space in this Manchester United back line as Shelby whips it towards the far post. Martial's underneath it, but his header doesn't clear the ball. It comes to Alain Saint-Maximin, cuts inside, has a shot at goal. It's a great save by David De Gea. It's Alain Saint-Maximin, the creator-in-chief of Newcastle this time, trying to create himself a goal. He's cut inside off that left-hand channel and fired it towards goal. I think it's gone too central in the end. I think he was trying to find the top right-hand corner. But instead, he's just found David De Gea's right glove. It's another shot at goal at the Spaniards' net. It's Willock this time, curls the ball into the box. Maguire heads out, comes to Saint-Maximin again. He's in the back of the net. Newcastle have levelled it. It's Saint-Maximin. It's him once again. He's just had a couple of moments there where he's looked absolutely brilliant and bright and technical and fantastic in his shots going forward. It wasn't the finest of finishes, you have to say, from him. He's not caught it brilliantly cleanly. He's just volleyed it towards goal. It's cannoned off the floor and bounced up into David De Gea's net, who just couldn't react quick enough. There's no mistake from David De Gea there, but surely somebody had to be marking him there in the Manchester United box. It was whipped into the box from a short corner, nodded down by nodded out by Maguire. It went straight to Saint-Maximin, and he's volleyed it first time. Nobody is close to him whatsoever. He's scuffed it, has Saint-Maximin, but it hits the back of the net, and Steve Bruce won't care. And just 6 minutes after Manchester United took the lead, it's Newcastle who have levelled the game, and it comes through the Frenchman, Alain Saint-Maximin. It was a short corner from Newcastle. It was whipped into the box. It was initially headed out by Harry Maguire, but Alain Saint-Maximin read it. He ran onto it, volleyed it first time. Nobody was marking him. He's not quite caught it sweetly, but it's bounced into the turf and bounced up into David De Gea's net. Nothing that the Spaniard could have done. It's level at Old Trafford. This game has certainly been a lively one. It's been a fantastic watch for the neutral. It's been fast and frantic. Both sides have looked to attack, and Newcastle have certainly got forward just as much as Manchester United and troubled the Red Devils so far, as there's a scrap here over on the far side of the pitch. It's heated up between Hayden, Almiron, Fernandes and Fred here. Just see a replay as Fernandes pushes Isaac Hayden there. Hayden comes back and pushes him back. He's not going to duck away from a fight there, Bruno Fernandes, as Almiron tries to break things up. Fred tries to push Hayden as well. That's silly and childish, really, from the Manchester United men. No surprise, yellow card for Bruno Fernandes for that. If Isaac Hayden's got one. I think he has confirmation yellow card for both Isaac Hayden and Bruno Fernandes. It's childish from them all, really, apart from Almiron, who's only trying to break things up, and in the end has been pushed by Fred, but Fred's got away with it, and despite the fact that Almiron was trying to break things up, Fred wanted to continue the scrap. In the end, it's all a bit of nothing, and the game is 1-1, and it's firing, it's heating up, it's been frantic and fabulous and full of attacking intent and defensive mistakes, as Willock now drives forward down the left hand side, chips it in towards the box to the far post. Joelinton's just cut inside though, as Luke Shaw scampers back. Now Kraft on the right hand side, Rashford's holding. This is one thing that really frustrates me with modern football. Rashford is backing into Emil Kraft, who's just standing in behind Rashford. Rashford has got his left arm hooked around the back of Emil Kraft as he backs into him, and somehow Rashford has won the foul. Kraft literally cannot move away from Rashford because Rashford is holding on him, but somehow, of course, the defender gets the benefit of the doubt. It's a frustrating thing in modern football, as Joelinton now picks up a yellow card as well. May have been for a late challenge on Luke Shaw down the left hand side, I think, before that foul, apparently by Kraft on Rashford. For me, Rashford got away with that one there, because Joelinton had won the ball back after Rashford fell to his backside as it's a long quick ball forward up towards Martial, who somehow scrambled that one away from Kieran Clark. Now turns on the left flank, inside now towards Fred. Fred looking to have a shot from distance, he does just that. Darlow, just for a moment I thought he'd dropped that one, but he grabbed it with two hands and looked to hold on to it. It just spilled out of his hands for a moment. He managed to hold on in the end. Darlow now looking to launch it forward, does just that down the right hand side as Joe Linton's the man to aim at, but it's easily won by Manchester United. Manchester United now trying to come down the left hand side. It's poor ball inside as Fernandes just about wins it back off Alain Saint-Maximin in the middle of midfield, much to the dismay of the Frenchman. Now it comes to the right. Daniel James trying to get at Hayden here. Tries to cut the ball back. Hayden with a sliding challenge. That one goes out for a corner, does it? Hayden saying it came off the Welshman last, and I think in the end it might be given as a goal kick here. No, it's not. It's gone for a corner for Manchester United as Kieran Clark and Isaac Hayden both have a word with the referee, Paul Tierney. Hayden was sure that came off Daniel James, but from my angle it looked as if it was just a simple cross and a slide tackle that deflected out. As Luke Shaw's gone across to take the corner kick. Left-footed in-swinging ball to come in towards the far end of the 6-yard box. It's headed out by Joel Linton, then flicked forward by Willock as Fred came steaming in. It's a counter-attack chance here for Newcastle. Willock looks to launch it long. He's sliced that one and it'll just come straight to David De Gea. Alain Saint-Maximin was on the far side of the field running up against Aaron Wan-Bissaka. But Willock's ball wasn't on the money. Matic now into the middle, into Fred. A little drop in the adrenaline running through this game. It's been frantic. Just for the moment, it's Manchester United possession. Down the left-hand side. Shaw inside to Matic. Looks inside to try and go square to Fred, but Fred was further up the field. Now back with Rashford. Rashford whips it in towards the box, headed out by Lascelles. High enough in a Newcastle fluorescent yellow shirt to win that one back. Matic on the left, driving forward. Joel Linton loads it up. He just hangs out a lazy leg there as Matic flicks it forward. It's won by Lascelles into Almiron, who turns and tries to scamper forward quickly. Feigns to come inside and goes again against Fred. Now looking to go up against Harry Maguire. Turns back though, looking for options. There's a good tackle in there from Fred. Just hooked his right foot across and it came straight into the left foot of Almiron and went out of play on the near side. Throw in taken quickly as Lindelof plays it into the midfield to Fred. Trying to play quarterback. To the left hand side is Matic now with Rashford. Flicks it through the legs of Willock. Goes down. Willock puts in another tackle. He wins the ball back here for Newcastle. Almiron tries to play the early ball in behind Victor Lindelof. Saint-Maximin was never going to get on the end of that one as once again Joel Linton's gone down. He's been told to get to his feet by the referee and he does just that. Eventually lumbers down this near side of the field as Fernandes drifts across. We've not seen too much of him in the opening 43 minutes of this game, you have to say. That's as much as you usually see as Wan-Bissaka down the right hand side. Dan James up against Jamal Lewis, looking to go past him. Lewis shows good pace to cover the speedy winger. Back to Fred. Fred inside to Matic. Matic looking forward into the feet of Martial on the edge of the box. It's poor though from the Frenchman. He claps Nemanja Matic, but he's got to do better himself there. Anthony Martial. It's gone straight to his right foot, his stronger foot. All he has to do is control the ball and either try and find someone, turn, or do something himself. But his touch is that poor. It's just skidded off the bottom of his studs and gone all the way out for a goal kick for Newcastle United. But once again, it's Joel Linton who's feeling the pace of this game. This time I think it's a lower back issue. Before it looked as though it may have been an ab or a groin issue. Now it seems to be lower back. Looks as though it would be okay to continue. I mean, I don't see Steve Bruce making a change just before half-time if he unless he has to, of course. Just seeing a replay of that Rashford goal early on. Not only did he nutmeg Kraft going down the line, it seems that he's nutmeg Kraft as he's cut the ball back towards the front post, and then You see St. Maximin, as soon as he kicks the ball, it hits the ground. He's slightly caught it with his studs, and it's bounced perfectly in the top corner for him. St. Maximin, such danger man. As soon as Newcastle fans see him on the team sheet, you just know that he's probably going to create 1 or 2 chances in the game. He's so tricky, you don't quite know which way he's going. That's only his 2nd goal of the season, though. Eventually the goal kick comes long for Newcastle down the left-hand side. It's won by Manchester United. Lindelof square to Maguire across the back, looking forward. Whips it to the left-hand side into the feet of Rashford. As the fourth official's board goes up for the allotted added time at the end of the first half. It's going to be 2 minutes added on. Maguire this time fizzes it to the left. That's gone straight over the head of Luke Shaw, straight out for a throw into Newcastle. And glum faces on both Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Nicky Butt in the Manchester United technical area. You would say that in terms of chances and shots on goal, they've been the 2nd best team so far. They have had the lion's share of possession, but that's not to come as a surprise, really. Newcastle have the 2nd lowest average possession in games this season, only above West Bromwich Albion, so it's not a surprise that they're not playing possession, but they like to play counter-attack at the moment with the passing of the likes of Hayden and Shelvey coming forward, and long balls up to Joel Linton, and the speed and pace of Almiron and St. Maximin as Hayden wins it in midfield, now good position to win it back there as Shelvey just has to turn back against Fred. Lascelles launches it long once again. This one's a little bit aimless. Goes through to David De Gea, who bowls the ball out like a top-class 10-pin bowler there. Brilliant into the feet of Fred. Now to Dan James on the right-hand side, looking to try and take on Jamal Lewis here, but Lewis shepherds him really well there. Cuts inside, does Dan James. Now into Fred, into Matic. Looking forward, just loses his foot in there. Just has to backheel the ball as it got caught underneath him. Gets the ball once again, tries to lift it to the left-hand side, does just that to Shaw. Rashford with the overlapping run, eventually gets the ball, but only as he turned back to try and keep himself onside, but he hadn't. Says the official on the far side of the field. He's offside there, Rashford, for Manchester United. He'd made the initial run. Luke Shaw surely had to play it then. But he delayed and then played it a second later, and by that point, Rashford was in an offside position, having to retreat back. Steve Bruce claps on his men as the seconds tick over. Surely going to be at the end of the half as soon as this free kick is taken long for Newcastle. Steve Bruce will be impressed. Impressed with the way his side have played this game so far, and that is it for the first half. A frantic first half of both defensive mistakes and attacking quality. Sees the two sides go in level at the break. It's Manchester United 1, Newcastle United 1.
Alright, people, alright. Manchester United 1, Newcastle 1, guys. I don't know. Why is it that Manchester United we must concede? Why we take a lead and we give it away like that? I tell you what, like, we need to get a commanding centre back right now, guys. We need to get a commanding centre back right now. Alright, shout out to all the people that are watching right now. Big up to you all in Ethiopia. I see a lot of people here in Ethiopia. Big up to all the people watching in Ethiopia. Shout out to my brothers there. And big up to England Sadai, big up to you Molan, I see you, and then shout out to those who have joined the channel as members, guys. I see 2 people who have joined the channel as members today, which is great. I see, yeah, guys. So smash the like button, people. Let's get some more likes on the video stream, guys. Support the stream, and let's get some momentum on this channel. I'm gonna bring you the re-on-time scores, re-on-time stats for the second half pretty soon. So let's do this. Like the video stream, subscribe to the channel, and I'm going to be back with the re-on-time scores, re-on-time stats for the second half of this encounter. All right. So I see finally Walker. Oh, who is this? Oh, Finlay Walker. All right. I see you. Big up to you. You have subscribed to the channel. All right. Big up. South Africa in the building. Yay, South Africa in the building. Yeah, big up to you. Cozy there in South Africa. Big up to you. Yep, guys, let's get some more likes on the video stream. I'm gonna bring you the commentaries for the second half. Big up to everybody that has subscribed to the channel. Shout out to England Tadai. Big up to Norway Camp in Canada that have subscribed to the channel. Shout out to Yes in Morocco. Heidi in Tunisia that subscribe to the channel, and we have Afi there. Afi, big up to you. And we also have Troy Jeffries there in Australia. Big up to you, brother. Big up to you. Yeah, subscribe to the channel, guys. Yeah, come on. Glory, glory, Man United. Glory, glory, Man United. Guys, Manchester United, we deserve more. We had a lot of the ball here. Ball possession wise, we're dominant. Chances created wise, we're dominant. But come on, guys. You know what let us down? That nonsense defense again. We need to get a defender. We need to.